Hello everyone, Terrell Morgan here from the Great Jamaican Outdoor Adventures. And guess where I am at today? Wow, look at that majestic building behind me. That's the Richmond Park Great House here in Halfway Tree, Jamaica, Kingston. It is a heritage site. I am a history buff, and so in 1800, between 1800 1805, this lovely architectural building was built by John Mace, and it has a rich history of passing hands from the Mace family to various companies until it was owned. I think the last owner was a Musson in 1992. The Musson Group owned it, so we wanted to just take a little tour. Just want to give you a little bit of context. You can see behind me also the Alorica building. The call center industry has taken over Jamaica, and so a lot of young people get employment. So it is surrounded by the call center industry here at 52 Halfway Tree Road. Carry you up a little tour of this beautiful architectural building. Look at the architecture of the building, the brickwork from the 1800 to 1805, and it was built and it's still standing, folks. Look at the brickwork, look at the ironwork. All right, so let's start with the brickwork. I believe the methodology for this, I understand they usually have various things that they put in between. It's not concrete. You can see in between the various materials that were used way back then. It's not like it is now, but it's still holding. It's still holding. It's still holding. I know in some cases they had dirt, some of the architecture, especially Manchester, dirt and white lime, and they boiled some things and it solidified. But we want to get up this step. We want to count the steps, actual steps. So here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 steps to get up here. And we're on top of the Richmond Park guest house, and we can see a sweeping view. There is the Flow building, there is a Alorica to the right, there are a number of offices on the left. Tin Grinners Jamaica Insurance Company also is there, and you can see right there, that's the NHT building. All right, so you can see a little bit of restoration has been done to the building. The steps obviously are improved. I believe the offices for the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce is down there. So we want to look at the ironwork here for the building. Very intricate, sweeping, and it's a typical style of a great house. If you notice, most of the great houses in Jamaica have a similar style. So let's take another view from the front. See the steps. Very familiar technology that's used to build them, and the architectural plans remain the same. And John Mace was an English merchant, and so he brought with him the Georgian style. I believe this is a Georgian style architecture. And these bricks, when you go downtown Kingston, you find these bricks. A number of the buildings still have these bricks. You can see some sort of reinforcement maybe later on was done with some of the material, new material to strengthen, because it's from 1800 to 1805. You can see the fretwork. Look at that work there, that intricate work along the building. I'm sure some rewiring was done. But you can see the boards there are looking very old. I'm sure some improvements were done but the main architecture remains the same from the 1800s, folks. Wow, this is how you construct, this is how you build. You build to last. A number of our buildings nowadays, they don't last. I don't know why. I don't know why. Because you're thinking as time goes on, one should get better at the technology. But you can see the window, the style, the Georgian style for the window, the louver style to the right and to the left, and the glass pane in the middle. And so we appreciate the style. If I have the chance to travel Jamaica, you will see a similar style with a number of the places. You can see this arch, very familiar style, these glorious arches. So, as we said earlier, Richmond Park Great House near Halfway Tree was built between 1800 and 1805 by John Mace, a wealthy Kingston merchant. He later became the owner of several coffee plantations in the St. Andrew and Port Royal Mountains. Now, this great house originally stood on 24 acres of land. It was marked on the James Roberts map of St. Andrew in 1804 simply as Macy's. Yes, folks, a lot of history here at the Richmond Park Great House. John Mace was a founder of the Mace family in Jamaica. He came out of England and he established the merchant firm Mace and Son on Harbour Street in Kingston. He married a Miss Weiss, the daughter and the heiress of Frederick Jacob Weiss of Plantation in the Port Royal Mountains, and through marriage he became the owner of the Halberstadt, one of the largest coffee plantations in Jamaica at that time. And so by 1831, the Honorable John Mace became Custos, member of Assembly for St. Andrew, the owner of Richmond Park, Halberstadt, Montpelier, Hall's Delight, Hall Green, and Tweedside. And this made him one of the wealthiest coffee planters in Jamaica. And he died about 1840, and so Richmond Park was passed on to his son, the Honorable Stephen Weiss Mace, and he became a prominent lawyer and coffee planter. He was the Master in Chancery, member of the Assembly, and he also became Custos of Port Royal. He was also an auditor at the Jamaica Mutual Life Assurance Company, the Justice of the Peace for 5 different parishes. We thank Mr. Brett Ashmeade Hawkins, who contributed this to the Georgian Society of Jamaica, all of this wonderful information. Did you know that Richmond Park Great House also was passed at one point to E.D. Kincaid, the owner of the famous Kincaid drugstore on King Street, downtown Kingston? They passed it on to the Mushet, and the Mushet family, they were living in Cuba at the time. They wanted to return to Jamaica, so they bought Richmond Park, this lovely estate here, lovely house here, as their home. Mr. Mushet died, and then Mrs. Mushet turned the Richmond Great House into a small private guest house. She later sold the property in the early 1950s to Sprostons Jamaica Limited for a staggering sum of £25,000 sterling. And then in 1976, the house became the offices of the Daily News, and in 1991 it was sold to C.D. Alexander, and it later became a part of the Mussons family. So tremendous history here as you reminisce on the steps, on the fretwork, on the iron wrought work here, as you focus on the brickwork here and the whatever held it together, you know, from 1800s now to 2022. Amazing architecture. Peace out, Terrell here from the Great Jamaican Outdoor Adventures channel.